we're starting from where she's talking about ransom messages.
And then it happened February 5th, I think. So what happened was I got all the messages when I logged back in for my icon. I got all the messages that were like just sitting there. And so I took that message and I forwarded it to I sent it to people and I sent it to Albert. And I said, hey, I said, can you get someone to like look into this? I said it could be just people, sending random messages, or it could be creepers, like people, whatever, being stupid, or it could be just in general, the actual person. And so no one ever said anything to me about it. Then I get the Snapchat. Okay, so that's
Letecia, there's an 11-year-old kid. Again, we have to go back there. 11-year-old kid, injuries in the house. Now we know that. Taken. And you don't come to law enforcement?
This was a law enforcement person.
No, there's no Barbara. I mean, how did you get in except through your friend? You had Amber from the FBI.
Right, but she said that she worked with the FBI and she was going to send information. She said that she worked with Amber. I assure you, if you call Amy, you can get the number from her to find out what Barbara, who the Barbara lady was. And she was actually emailing her today.
But if you told them back then and you trusted them with that information,
this is why
why are you not today?
Because no one has helped. I tried since February 5th. The 5th. Today's March. That's why you see I had such a problem with trust. Is because
I was there when you were talking to Amber, though. That was your chance.
Amber.
Yeah, that's the legit FBI.
So then, is that what happened when I was talking to Amber? I got a message back from the attorney who said not to talk to you guys because you guys, A, weren't the lead agency or something like that. And then B, not to say anything else unless he was present. That was when I was trying to talk to Amber.
But why wasn't that with Barbara then?
Because I gave it to my friend Amy, who had this relationship with Barbara, like trying to check on her.
See, and again, this sounds like a lot of your calls, to where you're pointing fingers in different directions, but never giving specific things.
Right, I did.
Right now, I mean, if Gannon is somewhere, and you can get us there, and he sent proof of life or a picture of Gannon or whatever else, it makes no sense for some man to have an 11-year-old child.
It wasn't that. It was because we thought it was someone playing games. And if someone was playing games, we were trying to say that person would have been like obstructing or whatever. That was the whole point. Not somebody had him and they were like, here, come get. My point was that we thought it was someone, hey, here's someone playing games. Could you find out who this person is?
Yeah, but do you see where that's going? And all your talks with Al. Those are distractions. Those take up time.
Yeah.
And Gannon's over here. Somewhere.
Yeah.
And you were misleading law enforcement.
No, I didn't mislead them.
No. Well, you're misleading anybody who would report to us.
No, I didn't mislead any of them. Who did I mislead?
With all these other stories.
That was to Albert. It wasn't misleading law
enforcement. But you knew you were in the room.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have said stuff like that if I was trying to mislead. I was just being whatever to Albert because he was making me upset. That's all.
The dad of a kid is not finding his son.
Because I'm also the stepmother who helped him get the kids, and he wouldn't have gotten them without me. So yes, he wouldn't have.
You're willing to do that to Al, though.
No, I already had apologized to him and said that was awful to say that to him out of anger. I had already done that.
But before we kick this thing in motion about all this protection and whatever, why haven't you said one thing, though, today? How in the world would he suffer a head wound on Saturday that required...
I didn't say it was a head wound that required anything. I said the head thing you're talking about when I said something to Albert. I said the head thing you're talking about. That's what I said.
So the bike accident thing?
You already trying... The bike accident?
No, the head thing talking to Albert.
Never mind. I'll just wait until you are ready to talk to me from beginning to the end. Because I already said that is completely irrelevant to anything that what you're talking about. Completely irrelevant. I told Albert something else that was just story, to be whatever to him. and it was wrong, and I already had apologized.
So
to
the
Albert.
things that you told Albert were that he was peeling these burns. Was that happening?
I'm not going to answer any more questions because you're asking me about things telling Albert out of being upset. There was nothing happening that I was telling Albert. Nothing. I was literally just saying that to Albert because I was upset for him not standing by me and was figuring this out. This had nothing to do with me wanting to purposefully do whatever or tell you guys anything. That was not what it was.
But,
it was me being upset with Albert.
Let me go back to a kid missing is about as bad as it gets.
Oh, yeah.
I had a bank robbery 15 years ago to where a female went in a bank, she robbed the bank, she got the money, she came back to the car, and she drove away.
Mm-hmm.
She was prosecuted for that. There were guys in the car with guns.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but she could have gone into the bank, said, lock those doors, those guys are making me do this.
Right.
You know, yours is now, we have 30-some days of Gannon missing, and you haven't talked to one law enforcement officer to say, I know where he is and he's safe.
I never did not try to talk to you guys. I never did not. No one ever, when I felt like I was getting like a completely like bam parted by El Paso, no one ever reached out to me from FBI to like have a conversation like you did. No one ever did.
And you don't feel comfortable talking to El Paso, why?
It's not that I don't feel comfortable talking to them. I just feel like from point A to point B, they have taken this approach, and a few ladies in a comment about Lake and about this.
Right.
Because that's the approach that they've taken, as if it's just a person who is not alive. And that bothers me because I don't want.
Well, we're actually
we're
the ones that told them that, and that's statistically true.
What? You statistically told what?
From Gannon's age,
Mm-hmm.
and from the amount of time that he's been missing, he is most likely dead.
But what I'm saying is, as a parent, is that maybe because you're like used to saying that or something, but is that something like as a parent you would want to hear?
No. What would you rather hear a lie? Would you rather hear statistically he's probably alive? When it's about I would say it's less than a 1% chance at this point.
But why?
Him being 11, they would have asked for something.
But why?
Kidnappings don't happen without a demand or without it being a parental deal.
Parental deal or a demand.
Yeah.
So you're saying that nothing else, nobody intervenes ever. Ever.
I've seen one at a time, and again, I've worked violent crime in Denver for 20 years, a little over. And I saw one kid wander down the street. He had autism, and this was up in Brighton. And a guy took him in the house. He had him for a day. The guy was mentally disabled as well, so we had two things happening at once. We had a kid with autism who just started wandering, and then we had a developmentally delayed adult who was just playing video games with him for 24 hours. But we ended up, the public said, there. And I remember knocking on the door. He had made little blankets for the kid in there. The kid was playing video games, and nothing bad had happened.
Right.
That's the exception. I've been to where kids have been dismembered, 10-year-olds.
That's awful.
And from the blood in the house, that's what I'm thinking happened. I'm not saying he just got dismembered in the house, but there's enough blood in there that we don't think he survived.
How could you have, like, possibly say that when you clearly began walking, leaving on Monday? See, that's
leaving on Monday at 10, yes.
Right.
Correct.
Right. Walking. Okay?
But he comes back.
Walking.
Correct.
Okay? Walking.
Not walking well.
Totally fine. Stomach hurts. Walk with like this. Yeah.
But he's back at 2.
Back at 2. Okay. If that's what you say, then then this whole thing is like even pointless to even say anything, because if you're saying back at 2, but then you're also saying something about going lakes and here and there and whatever, and it's like, None of it is even making sense. It doesn't even make sense.
So
For
between
me,
the two Petco trips is when he disappeared then.
It doesn't make sense to me
Letecia.
to say.
So let me tell you. I've been working for 14 years with a guy named Scott Kimball. He's our informant that went around killing the girls. You remember me telling you about him before?
Oh, yeah.
When we first started. Not our best day, because I have dads out there who still wonder if their daughters are alive. Scott taught me one thing very well. There's only two people that can tell a story when someone either goes missing. Because one of these girls, Jennifer, is still missing. Like I said, we're pretty sure she's dead because it's been 14 years since anybody's seen her. But Scott told me, John, only two people can testify to what happened between me and Jennifer. And that's me, and that's Jennifer. Right. And you're never going to find her.
He said that to you?
He did.
Wow.
So I've got to answer to his dad for the rest of my life. And I'll probably be answering to his dad after I retire because Dad has my cell phone. Dad calls me on her birthday, on the day she went missing, on Father's Day.
How was he able to say that to you?
Because he's like, there's no other witnesses. So when I take a guess, and that's a guess that he came back home, that's because people that looked on the video said he probably did, or, I don't have the information you have. And I hear you do that to Al by saying, oh, so that's what you think. Well, none of us know. You know.
Because I have to be that way. If I don't be that way, then no one's going to help me. I didn't hurt Gannon. I didn't.
That's fine, but right now you're the only one that was with him.
But I didn't hurt Gannon.
But how are you going to get past these charges without help? How does that work?
Without help?
Without you telling me. Like, again, it'd be like I told you the story about Jennifer. If somebody knew where Jennifer was, and they're not telling me or Bob Markham, the dad. I
didn't say I knew where Gannon was.
You said you know he's okay.
No, I said as a parent, I'm never going to sit here and look at you and say, he's not okay. That's not what I'm going to do, because I didn't do this. So why would I look at you and say that? Like, I'm dead looking at you in the eye saying, I would never as a parent say that. No way could I ever say that. Because I love Gannon. I did not hurt Gannon.
When he asks her why she didn't contact law enforcement, well, she has a friend of a friend who can't be verified as even existing, let alone being an FBI agent. She does this a lot, where she says there's proof of something and even tells them where they can verify it. But it's not there. She has probably done this to others in her life. When a con tells you there's proof somewhere else, he or she is using the absent proof as actual proof. Often, people will leave it at that and not go check on this distant proof. Cons count on this, but this is the FBI. Agent Grusing steers her right back. He points out the failure in logic, which is, even if you believed the person was law enforcement, you're saying you don't trust law enforcement. So why trust that person and not the ones actually working Gannon's case? Instead of answering to that, and it doesn't actually matter if she answers to that or not, that's not his goal there, she switches to the blame game. How she didn't get what she wanted from police. And she throws in the concept of trust and how it's the fault of law enforcement that she has trust issues. Notice how this is attacking and not talking about the real issues here. If there was a real issue with trust and the police, she could have spelled it out. But all we have is a nebulous complaint. And look at what we have. She's caught game playing, so she redirects, makes herself the victim, puts forth a nebulous complaint nobody can grab onto, therefore can't do anything about, then states their failure, blames, and what comes next? Punishment, of course. Punishment is a consistent theme with her. Look at how she treats people even outside of law enforcement, telling Albert horrifying stories about his missing son because he didn't stand by her in the manner she wanted, didn't provide support as per her definition of that, refusing to talk to law enforcement, demeaning Agent Grusing. She brings up the possibility of someone else obstructing, and they should be caught. Well, that's rich, coming from her. She does show here that she knows what obstruction is. When she justifies her lies to Albert, Agent Grusing points out Albert is the dad of a missing son. Instead of rethinking her justification or showing a glimmer of sympathy for the man she claims to love, she manages to turn it around to her, and even throws in how she was the one who got the kids. Listen to her tone when she said that. It's defiant and angry. She feels owed. When someone feels owed, entitled, or aggrieved, it becomes easier for them to justify actions. That justification in their mind paves the way to action. When she says, "never mind," she's stonewalling and demeaning. And when she says, "I'll just wait until you're ready to talk to me," she's demeaning him in her tone and her words. The other part of that message is, if you don't go along with me, you're not worth my attention, and the problem is you. And this is another way to punish and manipulate. Grusing again drags her back, and she puts out a double negative to help her push him off course again. The "I didn't not talk to you" was a way to get back to blaming them. You didn't reach out to me, therefore it's your fault. When kids go missing, people call investigators over and over. They'll apologize for calling so much. And to use a double negative here, parents of missing kids can't not call investigators. When she finds an exception to what he says about statistics, to her, that means everything he says is therefore invalid. When he says they know Gannon came back to the house, she shuts him down with words, tone, and gestures. If he thinks what she doesn't want him to think, then he's not worth talking to. She could have shut up here, but she doesn't. Why? Because she's playing a game. When Grusing tells the story of the offender who wouldn't confess, she says, "Wow," as she sits there knowing what she did. She can judge someone else, but not apply the same rules to herself. When she talks about as a parent, she won't say that Gannon's not okay. What you are seeing here is her acting out what she thinks a normal parent would do. She doesn't actually know. She's guessing and trying to act that out.
And most of these happen. They happen in the house with parents who love their kids.
I get what you're saying, okay? I understand. I appreciate what you're saying. I appreciate all the work and time and dedication you put into all of these things to have this. But I am not the one.
But then if you're not the one, you're going, so do you know what happens from here?
What?
You go to a local holding cell.
Okay.
They hold you for 24 up to 2 weeks until you get extradited back to Colorado.
Okay.
You're in jail, Letecia. And unless you tell me that somebody else did this, you're the only one that did it.
No, I didn't do it.
But I'm telling you.
But I didn't.
But that's what would be horrible, is if someone else did this, and you're going to let them skate because you're scared?
Not letting someone skate.
What could you possibly be scared of at this point?
I'm not letting. Do you think I would sit here and let someone skate if I could take you directly to the person right now? Why do you think I would need resources?
You don't need resources. Right now, what you need is that if someone took my son, and I know who it is, am I going to go to jail for the rest of my life because someone else took my son?
No, absolutely not.
No, and would I be afraid of my own protection going to jail when I could be free and that person could go to jail? That doesn't make any sense.
There, even if I walked you to the person, she just sit there and said, "Oh, well, I can't make any promises."
You can't make promises. Which is better? To go to jail for the rest of your life and hope that we find the person, or to point us to a person? If I'm in your position, it makes no sense.
Right.
What could you be scared of at this point? Reprisals?
No, the fact that you don't have, apparently you would have found some of this already if you would have had the resources. That's what scares me.
So your story makes no sense. And what it goes back to now
Okay.
is that you can't take responsibility for what happened to Gannon.
I didn't do anything to Gannon, sir.
You can't insert someone else in here unless you're going to tell me who it is.
Okay, I didn't do anything to Gannon.
That's fine. But then you would tell me who it is if
I
it's
didn't
someone
do
else.
anything to Gannon.
Did he do it to himself?
Okay. I didn't do anything to
I'm
Gannon.
not asking you. If you did,
I
I'm
didn't do
asking
anything to Gannon.
did Gannon do it to himself?
Do what to himself?
The head injury, the neck injury, whatever that was that caused that pool of blood down by the bottom of its bed. You know that the sheets and all that stuff, the blood seeped down in.
And what now?
The blood seeped down
In
that through that
sheets?
corner,
Sheets?
through the sheets into the mattress.
I have no idea what you're even talking about.
You cleaned it up off the wall.
So wait.
There's, you know where the head of his
I
bed
don't-
was.
I don't know anything about blood and sheets, okay? I did not take any sheets and clean them.
You told Al on the phone you cleaned up the wall.
Listen to how she says appreciate and how she appreciates all his hard work. She has learned this particular word is a hook. When it doesn't work on Grusing, she gets angry. She continues to blame law enforcement for her refusal to tell the truth. Then she lets him know he's inadequate. The appreciate hook didn't work, so now she'll try to pound him down. You don't have the resources. You didn't figure out all this. You're inadequate. You failed. And as punishment, I won't grant you what you want. When none of that works, she tries the broken record technique, where you simply say the same thing repeatedly, and she does it like a recalcitrant 12-year-old. And then she plays dumb, another annoying juvenile game. In the next clip, you'll see them leave the room. Instead of me explaining to you, I'll let Agent Grusing do that.
Hey, Letecia, for your request, you can leave that recorder in there. We're going to a room that doesn't record. Are you sure you don't need to go to the restroom?
I'm good.
Bring my computer down. You need anything to eat? Take your water with you just in case. Okay. Great.
This off-camera discussion, let's talk about first just the process that was undertaken here. Who was involved with it, first of all?
Well, Myrtle Beach arranged for us to have another room to talk with her in. I believe chairs were already put out. It was a lot bigger room than this one, from what I recall. And myself, I introduced, or I guess Special Agent Cohen introduced himself, and we just sat in the middle of the room to see what she had to say.
And when you say Special Agent Cohen, you're talking about the guy sitting here?
That guy, yes.
That guy? Should we call him that guy from now on? How long would you say that portion of your interaction with the defendant lasted?
I recall about 30 or 40 minutes, maybe.
Was she talking to you in that room much the same way we've been seeing in this recorded interview?
Yes.
Can you give the jury some ideas to what that means?
It was more of needing protection that I recall. The primary things I remember from this was that this person or people that she was saying was responsible for Gannon might have been associated with an app that was on her phone, and that Al had wanted Letecia to participate in a threesome. And this person that was part of the threesome might be the person responsible for Gannon's disappearance.
When you say these people, is she pointing her finger away from herself saying these people, or is she saying these people that are inside of herself?
No, it's another person, and why I say people is when she's talking to me, it sounded like a group. So I'm leaving that just kind of open, but she was referring to this threesome as like it was another female who was involved. That if we find who's in this app, we might find the person who abducted Gannon.
And when you're saying app, you're talking about, was she saying an app on a phone?
That's correct.
Okay. Was there some discussion here about Angel and Petco?
Yes.
What do you remember her saying about that?
Well, we discussed Angel later, back on camera, but I remember Angel coming up as a result of this app and the threesome that happened. As Angel was a female who may have been involved in Gannon's disappearance.
And this Angel is potentially the one that the defendant was suggesting might have been contacted for the threesome issue?
Correct.
A warning here. Getting the right volume in the next clip was difficult. She's speaking quietly, but if you turn it up, when he speaks, the bass in his voice booms. So here goes. You ready? 3, 2, 1.
You all right? With the district attorneys and stuff, for this protection thing with Angel, we have to know last name, all that stuff, how you met her. I mean, I know you say that app and whatever, but how else do we identify Angel?
Probably could just reach out, maybe.
Can you describe her?
Yeah.
What does she look like?
And she actually got out.
Yeah.
Like, you know, she's definitely.
But where all have you met her? When did she come to your house? Were you saying September? And then who all did she babysit? Uh-huh. Okay.
We had a bunch of quite a few people that were here.
So these messages that are coming through to your phone, the, you know, threats or whatever they are they coming from her?
So we can get on the YouTube.
What is her Snapchat name?
I would need to have my phone.
But do you remember? Did it have her name in it? Was it a numbers?
That's why I asked for help, but he's not willing to help.
To take you back what we talked about.
I don't. If I'm not going to get any help, then I would have to get help. I trusted you.
Well, we went in there.
I know.
And I don't know, Letecia, if it's just the way you're used to communicating over a long period of time, but when you're asked a question, you don't really answer. You kind of go in a little circle. So if I said like, where did you last see Gannon? And then you said, well, it's supposed to drop off, you know.
Yeah.
So we're just used to asking you a question and then you tell us an answer. It's just, you know.
I just don't. I don't. I've always like.
So, are you? That's just how you've always done for like the last, what, 5-10 years?
I mean, most of the time, I knew to write was on help. Like, you know.
It's gonna look bad.
No, I'm not. That's not what I'm talking about.
It's not even gonna look like that. Here's what it's going to look like: is that you were the last one with Gannon. Nothing on this Angel thing we can't authenticate in with that. When you say it's all off camera, like with the Black Impala in the parking lot. We have cameras for that whole place and we don't see you meet with
Okay.
anybody.
Well, can you like show me that so that I can show you what direction?
But you would know where it is. Where
I
did you
said
meet?
what direction, because I'm not from Colorado, so I can show you. That you're talking about what direction? Like where it would be at, then maybe you could pull like if you wanted to pull a camera off another place. I mean, there's lots of places you could pull the camera off of. That's all I'm asking for. Mm. That's offering help.
Yeah, it's, well, but Gannon goes into this car. I mean, this is a person that you trust.
I do.
Right.
That's the thing. What am I supposed to
Angel.
do?
So then why would you
Angel.
go home and say that he's here, that he's now gone away?
I
You're
never,
leading,
I never said he was here, not gone.
well,
away.
that he was at the house. Yeah, but do you see where I'm going with that? Why would you make up that story to law enforcement? That he was going to a friend's house?
Because if her nephew was a friend. I mean, I don't understand how that's a problem.
Angel's nephew was a friend. Oh, that's right, that they had played together. But did she live in your area?
Mhm.
Where did she live?
The thing is, I'm like constantly, like stuff will come through, and there will be people sending stuff, saying stuff.
But the people, are they different people from Angel? I mean, are they acting on her behalf? Because that doesn't sound like a friend to me.
Like, obviously, if they're not helping with your child, they're not friends. But how do you think that makes them trusting people? If he doesn't make them look like they're irresponsible, not trusting people,
Yeah.
trusting someone.
Do you know who tells the story from here on out? Your story?
I ask for help.
But do you know who tells the story? How this works out
Could
from
it
here?
take you to, could have opened you to
If there is an Angel, well, just like we found Quincy Brown right away, we can find Angel. But if there's not an Angel, that's the last story you're going to tell law enforcement about Gannon.
Sir,
Well, but I mean, we'll get your warrants for that threes thing, whatever else. We'll go interview this Angel, and if it's like what I think Quincy Brown is, then Angel's just
you're
gonna.
not trying to help.
I will help you.
Okay. I tried to get your help. When I gave you the wrong information, you tried to get you.
But I think I can help you. How is that? But
It's just like they did.
I'm happy to chase down anything you tell
You
me,
did just like they did.
Letecia, and I can. Is that I think that Al left you alone because he's gone to Alaska for so long, and then he's on this trip, and you're left raising Gannon, and something bad happens. I don't know if it's your fault or Gannon's, it doesn't really matter. And you panic, and you ask, was I the person talking for Al? Yes, I was. But I think the closest you came was talking about his head injury, and then because you asked Al,
I would have, like,
no, if someone took your son, you would have called.
I did call.
You did not call the police.
Yes, I did. I called the police.
The Petco, right when he was taken.
No, that's not taken. He was supposed to be playing. Like, as soon as he wasn't home, I did.
But you were supposed to meet her, what, the next morning?
No, I called immediately when at 6 o'clock at the time he was supposed to be home. I called the police. I did.
And then what did you tell him?
You already know what I told them.
Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense.
Why doesn't? Yes.
Because I told you, I have talked to a lot of people that are sitting in the same chair you are right now. And I've seen them, and I'm sorry if it offends you if I say story, but that's the only way you're coping with this right now.
Coping?
Yes.
Yeah.
We all cope.
Okay. Sir,
You did. I'm not saying you did. I'm just saying that you're unwilling to come to the truth Because it's going to be painful.
I gave you the truth. I didn't hurt him. That's the truth.
So the last truth you want to tell me,
I'm
just
not
to
going
make
to say
sure,
anything else, sir.
is the angel story.
I'm not going to say anything else, sir, because you didn't help me.
I will help you if you will tell me one concrete way to find Gannon.
Okay.
Letecia,
You're not trying to help me.
yes I am.
I'm not trying to help me.
You can be a hero here. You can,
I'm far from a hero.
but you can
Because
be
I'm
one.
a parent.
You're a
who
parent.
did not hurt a child.
You're a parent who was left behind to deal with his stepson and
They
stepkid.
had a problem.
No, it's a problem when something like this happens in the house.
It's not a problem to take care of our children.
Then what happens?
That's not a problem. That's not a problem at all. Like, for you to say that to someone, it's hurtful. That's what's hurtful. It's not a problem to take care of children.
It's not a problem to take care of children, but bad things happen in the house all the time.
No.
Yes.
No. I mean, John, no. No.
Do you want me to walk through where all the blood was, or do you know it already?
Listen, sir, I don't.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that I did not hurt him.
How is the bottom of your shoe have
And
Gannon's
as
blood?
long as I can live with that and know that God knows I did not hurt Gannon, then I'm okay with that.
Well, you can convince yourself of that all day.
Okay.
But,
sir, that's not helping me, sir.
but is there a way for me to help you? Even if
Okay.
you're trying to convince yourself it didn't happen,
Okay.
is there some way for you to say through a third party?
Whatever you think. I don't know what else to tell you, but I did not hurt him. Did not.
Then you won't tell me who did.
Would not.
All that blood would not be in the house if Angel just
I
met
would-
him at a Petco.
You're like that's far beyond what you're even talking about.
What is far beyond?
There's like many of times we've had blood in our house.
Do you remember the spray that was on the wall?
I mean, goodness gracious.
I've seen the markers from the spray. The spray went from the bed all the way up here. Well, you had to clean it up.
Smear?
No, it's not a smear.
Whatever.
It's a spray.
All right, sir. I don't know what you're talking about. Spray. I don't know what that means.
It's called spatter.
I don't know anything about that.
So
Okay.
it comes from aspirated. You're going to hear all this anyway, so I'll tell you. It comes from aspirated blood.
Okay.
You know what that means?
No.
It means that he didn't accidentally do it.
Okay. Okay. Whatever, sir.
So that's what we were waiting on for the
Okay.
warrants, because somebody struck Gannon in the bed.
No. If
No.
someone struck Gannon in the bed,
That's
thank
what happened.
God we were all drugged then. If that's what you're saying happened.
That's what the blood.
God, we were all drugged.
Well, then can you tell me how that blood got on the wall?
Sir.
That's Gannon's blood on the wall.
Okay, well, I guess, sir, if you think you have all the answers, then
You're making me guess.
I'm not.
You've got the answers,
I'm not making you
Letecia.
this, sir. I'm going to be respectful to you because
Letecia,
you offered to help me. You didn't help me, so I'm just going to sit here now.
She's talking quietly because they're back on camera, and she's sulking because things with Grusing have not gone according to her plan. I trusted you, and you failed me. Oh, and I set you up to fail. When he does say, we do have cameras around Petco, she wants to see the footage. And the reason why is so she can latch on to something she sees in order to modify her story. She can't say where Angel lives. And what a stereotypical name for this character. In reference to searching for a missing child, she says, well, obviously, if they're not helping, they're not their friend. Exactly, Letecia. When he lets her know, we're going to find out. She goes right back to, you're not trying to help, which is code for, you're not doing what I want. This is interesting how when she says, that's not taken. And then she points out she did call the police at 6 o'clock. Remember her earlier interview? This phone call to the police was her plan B if she couldn't figure out how to cover up her crime without calling them. I'm going to play you a clip from a previous video. Letecia is explaining to the detective her thought process in the cover-up of the crime. This is a confession, albeit unwitting. Listen to this next part. She is describing to the detective her thought process as she works out how she's going to be successful at covering her crime and how she has a plan B.
Tell Harley. I didn't tell Harley. I paced around the situation and was thinking, okay, if I don't have any kind of like information, like if I don't have a plan in my brain by a certain time, that's when I'm going to call authorities.
Okay.
And so that's how.
So you had like predetermined a time that you were going to call if you hadn't figured
I
anything
didn't come
out?
up with a specific time, but in my brain I kept saying, okay, I got to act soon. But I knew that, I'm like thinking by 6:30, like I need to make a good decision because what am I going to tell the girls? Because they're going to be like, like where's Gannon? Da da da. Like because we were going to all go eat sushi, so that was where that time frame would have been like, what am I supposed to do? Go get in the car and be like, Gannon's not going with us. I couldn't keep going on and on with the irrational decision of not calling 911.
Okay.
And I had to stop the decision.
So what happened?
She'd made an irrational decision on not calling the police. It wasn't going to hold water. So she either had to come up with something better to explain Gannon's absence, or she'd have to call the police and tell them a story. No. And throughout this portion of the interview, she's sullen and blaming him. The reason she says she doesn't resent or doesn't mind taking care of the kids, that she wanted to and all that, that's because she knows she's not supposed to say she resents taking care of them. She used the word hurtful in a weird context. It's another one of those emotional hooks, and it's tied up with blame. Then she invokes God. Anytime somebody invokes a higher power, your antenna should go up. Invoking God or a religious concept is a way to trump everybody else. When she said, I did not, I would not, that catches the attention of investigators. Did not is sufficient. As he presents evidence, she says, whatever, dismissing it. And she's really squirming. She's really piling it on to him with the sir and the please for help and mercy and compassion. And she sets up this obligation and blame dynamic. I'm respectful, but you didn't help. I'm respectful to you, therefore you owe me. And you didn't do what I wanted, and therefore you failed.
Mr. Grusing, this continuation of the discussion about Angel, was there any indication in the investigation that somebody by the name of Angel was involved in Gannon's disappearance?
No.
At the beginning, when you asked her for her being the defendant for a description of Angel, what did she say?
She said that Angel looks a lot like herself.
Angel looks like her. Really? Now, the defense could have pointed to this and said maybe Angel is one of her personalities, but it's not going to work now because she says Maria did it. I suspect that what this is really about is twofold. One is that she couldn't quickly come up with a description of Angel, and the other piece is related to her narcissism. She can't imagine or allow others to imagine someone in an intimate situation with Albert other than her. If Angel looks a lot like Letecia, then it's easier for Letecia to tolerate others thinking of Al in that situation. This would have been a hard story for her to tell. That she would tell this particular story reveals her desperation. I also think that using a story about a threesome was a way to worm her way into Agent Grusing's psyche, or so she thought. Singing her siren song. Due to her apparent prejudice in thinking men cannot control themselves, she made a miscalculation. He's not that weak, and he's not that stupid. She would have been surprised, disappointed, and quietly angry when she got into the other room with Grusing and found there would be another agent there. She went ahead with her titillating story anyway, because, as she's demonstrated, once she sets a course of action in her mind, she won't deviate from it unless there's no other choice. And she is ever hopeful that her tactics will work in spite of contrary evidence and in spite of the free will of other people. Of course, Grusing wasn't titillated, and she was disappointed. That would be a double whammy for her, given her personality. It's about more than merely seeing her story fall flat. She was rejected. You see how sullen she appears here. What's hurtful to her, as she puts it, is not any aspect of the case, but Agent Grusing's rejection of her.
If someone presents us with evidence, then we just follow the evidence.
Okay.
Right now, you're the last person with
Okay.
Gannon.
Then I don't do bad things to people. I don't.
I don't think you do bad things to people.
I don't do bad things to anyone, and I didn't do anything bad to Gannon.
I think something bad happened to Gannon, and I don't know of a way to get you to tell me about it.
Okay.
I tried through Al to get you to tell me about it. We've tried here.
Okay.
You came, and I think you have a defense mechanism. And I think your defense mechanism was, you need to go into another room, you tell us.
No, that was not no defense mechanism. I trusted you to talk to you because I thought you would
If you
help.
trusted me to talk to me, you would tell me where Gannon is right now.
I don't know.
Do. You know where he last was, and it wasn't at the tech
Okay.
code.
Okay. then.
But
Whatever
see, you can't make me guess. That's not
I'm
fair
not-
to me.
Why would I keep
not fair to
talking
Gannon.
if you're not going to help me?
You tell me how to help you.
I already did. I already did tell you. I told you how you could help. And
Nobody holds a kid like that.
okay, if that's what you think.
No, I'm just saying,
Okay.
if the
Sir.
sun comes up in the morning, it goes down at night, every
Okay.
day. We have
Sir.
worked hundreds of these
If
things.
that's what you think. Okay. Me talking to you is not going to do anything else because all you're going to do is go think that you're going to get me to say something that I did that I didn't do.
That is not what I want.
Because I did not do anything to Gannon. Why would I hurt our child? I had everything in the world. Why? I have no motive. None. Don't have the first motive. Everything I wanted in my life, I had it. Why? Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense a lot of the time what happens inside of a house.
Sir, I don't even know what you're talking about. All I can tell you is I didn't know. No reason to. In fact, to go on the record, I had a way better relationship with Gannon than I did with Lana. Way better. We were so much alike. We always like the same things. We always have problems with our stomach. We always do all these things.
Do you know that there's almost a correlation sometimes between how much you get along with someone and how bad things happen in the house? I'm telling you that.
I don't. Well, maybe bad things happen in your house.
They happen in the house a lot more than they do out in public.
Maybe bad things happen in your house. But
Would it help if we showed you pictures of what we saw on the wall and by the bed? When you say nothing bad happened, you can't get around. Yes, Al, but we did not show Al that on purpose. He had to come get stuff out of the house. And he looked and saw the blood pool was about this big on the concrete.
Okay. And
that is
what?
not from a little gash like that.
Okay, and then what? And then you showed this to him, or how did he see this?
He had to come get stuff out of the house. I wasn't even there that day.
After you allowed people to stay in this house for a week.
I did not allow anybody to do anything.
Someone did.
Okay, that's not my call.
Okay. So
what I'm saying, though, is the wounds that you're describing to him, even when you're saying it doesn't...
Sir, I'm going to tell you now.
When you say the head thing was Saturday...
What I'm going to tell you now is people were inside of a home living, and it was not me. So maybe you can talk to whoever allowed people to live in the home. Okay? Whatever you're saying that was done extra or whatever, maybe you can talk to those people who were allowed to stay in a home during this supposedly, okay? That's what I think. Maybe you can talk to people who were...
You're saying that the injury to Gannon happened?
I'm not saying anything except I know you're telling me this stuff, and you're saying this about, oh, how bad these were and these things were. All I can tell you is maybe you can talk to the people that were allowed to stay in the home during this time. During this time that you have this supposed evidence, people that were allowed to stay in the home and people that were allowed to walk in and out to see it, supposedly. Okay?
So Gannon was in, all these wounds happened after he went.
I'm not saying anything other than, sir, you are telling me, you just sit here on record and telling me that Albert went inside somewhere that you were supposed to have as a supposed crime scene.
Wasn't there for that. If you want to get an answer for you about who was with him.
That's not what I'm asking you. I'm saying for you. You as a professional, you would have allowed that, supposedly?
If he has to go get stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure that's
as long as the scene had been processed.
Okay, processed, sure. Okay. I'm sure that's how.
Not do that?
I'm sure that's how it works in this country. Doesn't it sound a little bit weird to you?
If the scene has been processed,
Okay.
No. I had a girl that was burned alive in a house in Bailey. We got realized.
The thing was processed supposedly when people were still there, day 1, day 2, day 3, and the scene was processed. Day 4, day 5, day 6, and the scene was processed.
You're saying that people were going in and out of the house, civilians, while they were processing the scene.
I'm asking you that because apparently you said the scene was processed, and then you want me to talk to you when I know that how shady that whole situation is. And you want me to give you answers for how shady that is. So you need to tell me in the scene that was processed, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, there was nobody going in and out. There was people living there.
Right.
Okay.
When they thought Gannon was still alive.
Okay. Living there. Okay. But you're saying the scene is processed because you, not you, but people surely were there. It's all on camera that there was crime scene people there while people were living there.
Of course, because they didn't know the severity of the scene. They just thought Gannon ran away, like you said, to go see a neighbor.
So the point is, how am I supposed to put my trust and faith in any bit of the system like that when that was going on? How?
So you're trying to put faith in the system.
No, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. I'm saying
if you would have told police the very first night that he was taken forcibly, everything would have been different.
That's not forcibly, okay? I said exactly what I said, which was he didn't come back at 6 o'clock.
If you would have said other people have him and they should not have him, it would have been different. You controlled the way that law enforcement responded.
I did. So now it's my fault that they...
Yes, by you saying he's walking
in
over
there,
to play with a friend.
Had people in there doing a supposed crime scene, and now you have all this stuff after you let people live there. And now you want to look at me and say something. Sir, I did not hurt Gannon. Okay?
Okay, well, who did?
Did not.
Who did?
Did not. Just like all the other things.
Why are you telling me you did not? I don't care if you did or not.
I'm just telling you. Yes, you do care.
No, I don't.
Your father, you would care.
I care about Gannon. I don't care if you did it or not.
Sir, I didn't, okay?
But you're saying you did it, but that doesn't help us find you.
Okay, well, I didn't do it. I didn't do anything. I would not have no motive, no reason
I'm not asking you about
to
motive
hurt
or reason.
a child. No reason.
Who did?
No reason.
You hear her proclaim, I don't do bad things to people. This is not unusual. Even the worst offenders will insist they're good people. They need to see themselves that way. And this section is full of more of the you failed. When she says, well, that's what you think. Again, it's his fault, and she's punishing him. She's still feeling dejected. She uses the words our child again. Then she goes on about motive. Motive, lack of an obvious motive or not proving motive, doesn't mean the person didn't do it. They're not the same thing. Her claims of a good relationship with Gannon and how he's her favorite is a way to bolster her claim that she has no motive. She doesn't actually mean it. It's when he offers to show her pictures that she throws more sir and please at him. She fishes for information about the scene, and then she accuses and makes a chain of custody and integrity of evidence as a defense. Those aren't her words, but that's generally the argument. I'll note here that this is common for offenders to say, yeah, you can't prove it, or you don't have proof, or yeah, prove it. That's not the same as I didn't do it. And when an investigator hears you have no proof, they know. And once again here, she knows more than the police about evidence. She's actually chastising the FBI. She's snarky and arrogant and condescending. She's turned it around again. She claims she can't put trust in them, yet she's asking them for something. The translation here is, I can't trust you unless you give me something. She's reversing victim and offender. You failed. Now you're blaming me. And so now I'm the victim. I don't think her overriding emotion is fear here. I think she's angry because Grusing keeps rejecting her in one way or another.
If you give me another name, I will chase that person. You've tried Eduardo in the house. You've tried Quincy Brown up in the mountains. Now you've tried Angel.
I never say that about a mountain.
Yes, you did. You were supposed to ride a bike
Oh,
up
I
there
did.
in the mountains with Quincy Brown. But
I never told you that.
you said you knew I was in the room.
I didn't say I knew you. I don't even know who you were.
FBI.
Never know who you were. I didn't never say FBI either. Not what I said.
Law enforcement.
No, I said I know someone is listening.
That's got to be us.
No, it could have been anybody.
I don't need to do that with you.
Exactly. There's no point of arguing that. You're not going to help me.
I think you could control this story by.
Sir,
Well, you are
nothing but
concerned about what other
respectful to
people
you.
think.
I've been completely respectful to you. I have talked to you. I've been respectful to you. Been kind to you. I did all these things to you because that's who I am. I was wasn't raised to be bad to
I
people.
don't think you're a bad person. But I think bad things happen all the time. I've seen it.
Why bad things have to happen?
Because an 11-year-old boy is not home and he's not hanging out with somebody.
Okay, sir, okay. I'm glad that you think something so bad happens all the time. I'm sorry that you have to have this filled up of nothing but no compassion and all that. I'm sorry for that. I really am. But I have no reason, none, to hurt anyone in my family. None.
Can you tell me why there's blood on the bottom of your shoes?
I don't
Gannon's
know.
blood. The shoes they were covered in the garage.
In the garage?
Or in the top of the washer or something.
People weren't, did you think I didn't walk around in shoes?
With Gannon's blood on the bottom?
That's got to do with anything.
It's
I've already told you. We were outside unloading stuff. What has that got to do with anything? We are outside unloading my car. I mean, come on. That doesn't mean somebody's a bad person and done something wrong. Yeah, sir. No. Thing like that. To hurt Gannon, innocent, loving, help me out more than any person in the household. More than Albert. More than anyone. Help me.
I'm not saying Gannon's a bad kid.
No, help me. You know how much you'd be helping me? With everything, pulling everybody else's slack. Who did it? Gannon.
And I think that's why this is so hard.
You're right. It's hard, you're right. It's hard because I didn't hurt you. To not have him helping me, that is hard. Very hard. Knowing that right now, sitting at home, Gannon knowing the situation, you know what Gannon would do? He would wait on me anything I would ask him just to make sure I was okay. Anything.
I wouldn't doubt that.
Oh, he would. Before even Albert would even do it. He would. If he was sitting here right now and needed anything, me to ask him to do anything, he would do it. So there's no intention, motive, reasoning, nothing for Gannon. Nothing to hurt him in any kind of way. None. Nada.
You did say on the phone calls there was no premeditation involved.
Yep.
You said,
I mean, I was saying to Albert, like if you're talking about when Albert was asking me that, I was simply saying, because you were trying to get him, or whoever was trying to get him to walk me down some pathway of whatever it may be, whatever that may be. Come on, sir. I didn't wake up and be like, oh, my life changed today. That's not how it works in life. Bad people, whether you say do this or do that or do that or do this, they just do bad things
no,
to people.
it's not necessarily true.
Okay, well,
I told you good people do bad things. I've seen it.
are you a good person?
Yes.
And you do bad things?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But if you had any key to telling us where Gannon is, you would tell it to us if you were a good person. Would you not?
I lied, but I didn't tell you that lie. And she's trying to drag him in the weeds again. He doesn't go into the weeds. She doesn't like that. So she pulls this obligation thing. I've been respectful, kind, did all that for you. Well, first of all, she hasn't been, unless refraining from bashing him in the face with a monster drink can is counted as respectful. Anyway, she didn't do any of that, but she still somehow feels that he owes her, and she's setting up this obligation. And of course, he can't make her happy, so he's failed. And because he's failed, she can feel justified in punishing him. And let's not lose sight of the fact that what she's punishing him with is the whereabouts of a little boy. And when she accuses him of having no compassion, she's pretty much saying, sorry you're the way you are. You have no compassion. You see, compassion doesn't count as compassion unless it's for her and demonstrated as she demands. When she compliments Gannon again, she's trying to worm into Grusing and elevate herself. This isn't actually about Gannon. And note, Gannon's goodness is directly and solely related to what he does for her. Grusing now tries to tap into Letecia's own words about being good. You would tell me if you were a good person. And guess what? She doesn't tell him. For the next clip, I will first show you Agent Grusing's explanation of what he was doing.
Do you remember asking her right after this clip that we just saw about where did you last see Gannon?
Yes.
Why did you want to go down that path?
In my experience, especially if you have a close relationship with someone who has disappeared, you are clearly able to articulate the last time that you saw that person. And so far in the phone calls with Al, and even with my time, she has not said what that very last sighting of him was.
Your argument isn't going to work, Letecia.
Argument about what?
Your argument that somebody took him. You're not going to be able to tell that story.
Okay.
If you help us today
Okay.
find out where Gannon is, if you could, because I have 100% confidence that you can tell me exactly where you last left Gannon.
Okay. Now you're accusing me.
I'm just telling you what
Okay.
the research shows, what our investigation shows.
I'm
Then
glad
listen.
that you have research that.
It will look much better to you.
I didn't do anything. So what do you want me to look better at? I didn't do
Are you
anything.
going to tell me right now that the last place you saw Gannon was
I'm not
really
gonna
him
say
getting
anything.
into an Impala?
Sir, I'm not going to say anything because you're not trying to help me.
Finding Gannon would help you.
Oh yeah, I know. Don't
Wouldn't
you
it?
think that?
Then tell me where
Don't
he
you
is.
think that? Don't you
I know it.
really don't think that?
So tell me where he is and let me help you.
I don't know where he is.
Where did you last see him?
I'm not, sir. I'm not. You proved that you were not going to help me. Okay, you did. You proved you were not going to help me.
If you tell me where you last saw him, I can help you. I promise you that, Letecia.
I don't get it. Then her Gannon. I mean, I don't know how to like write that out, say it in 10 different languages.
So what do you want me to say? You didn't hurt Gannon? Did you kill Gannon?
No. No.
Did you put Gannon somewhere?
No.
You didn't put him in a dumpster.
Dumpster? What? Saying these bad, horrible things.
Because we've been tracking your car, we've been tracking, even when your phone is off, it can be tracked.
Good, sir. I'm glad.
And so we've been going through dumpsters all
Okay.
through. Is Gannon in a dumpster?
Sir, you can go through
Just please.
whatever you
That
want
would
to go
save
through.
us.
Sir,
That would save us
I didn't do
hundreds of
anything.
days. Just tell
I
me
didn't
if he's in a
do
dumpster.
anything.
That's fine. But will you tell me if he's in a dumpster?
If I didn't do anything to him, how am I answering that question for you?
Whether it's Angel or
I'm
whoever
not
else.
answering this question for you. Really? You sit here and ask them that?
Because we want to find him. I would not ask you that question
I
if
didn't
it wouldn't help us
do
find him.
anything to him. Nothing. Didn't hurt, harm, kill, nothing. Again. Did not. Would not,
Where's the last place you saw him?
sir.
Please.
You've already asked me all these questions.
I know, but that's an easy question. The last place you saw Gannon, which can really help us find him.
Sir,
Why would you not say that? If you had nothing
Because
to do...
I've already tried to help you.
No, but if you had nothing to do, if you did not hurt, harm, anything, why would you not tell me the last place you saw him?
Okay.
Because it's a memory you don't want to look at.
Memory?
Yes,
Really?
I would think it's a memory.
Okay.
Gannon's been missing now for how many days? You know when you last saw him, but you won't tell the one agency that can find him.
You already said, you already basically lost my whole
That's
ability.
not a
to
true
trust.
story. That's worse than Quincy
Okay.
Brown.
All right. Okay.
What about the pregnant lady with the money in her
Okay.
stomach?
Okay.
Letecia, tell me the last place you saw him, and we can find Gannon, and you can, that will help you so much in this case.
Oh.
Yes, it will. What do you think is going to help you now? If I walk out of here and we haven't got a lead on how to find Gannon, all you've got is the story of the stuff on the wall. You've got the blood. You've got blood all over the house. You've got blood on the bottom of your shoes, and you've got about 7 lies.
Okay.
If you help us find Gannon, that will help you tremendously. And yet you won't tell me. Why? Yes, I will.
The one, not the one.
Do you know if I asked you ahead of time if you're having anxiety or depression or stuff like that?
Anxiety, depression, any of those things. Because to be honest with you, that's it.
But have you been? You said Gannon's been seeing counselors. Have you been seeing counselors?
Right, about teaching. One time. Maybe she did it too because she was going to give the emotional support animal.
That's it.
Yeah, it was the 2 times on base. And we talked about not wanting to be in teaching anymore and all that route. Stress on the job. That was what we talked about.
You had searched a little bit on the suicide stuff.
What suicide stuff?
Or was that you, or was that just random heat stroke?
Suicide? I don't even
Have you ever thought about suicide?
Who?
You.
I'm not thinking about suicide.
What's that? What a suicidal person might say. That's what.
Yeah, because I have someone in my family before that had said that to me, and I've looked up information.
That's not you.
Wow.
Take
People
that.
have things in their family go on too, that you maybe want to look up and be like, oh, this is going on. How they're dealing with this. No.
Okay. Good restroom or anything?
I just wanted to call to see that Harley got home.
She did. Yeah, they talked with Harley, they talked with Dee Dee, they talked with Laura. There were search warrants at Laura's house, Dee Dee's house, your van. I think that's it. So yeah, they got hired back on.
Harley Beatty?
Yeah, because I told them that I met you out of the car and you said you'd like Dee Dee to be the guardian in between times or whatever.
Okay. Why are you sleeping in their house? I mean,
Because you stayed there.
I'm saying like they're not in trouble, are they?
No, neither nor Dee Dee. I'm not asking you stuff around the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I do it now. And whether you did this or not, it doesn't matter. The reason they asked me is to come find what happened again. And if I can't get past, if I can't prove a story, whether you tell it to me, Al tells it to me, whether it's El Paso Sheriff's Office, again, I don't take anything as true until I can prove it. With all the evidence that they have, the reason why it took so long is the district attorney wanted to wait and wait and wait till they made sure they could win in the courtroom. And I've done no body homicides before. They have more on this case than we do on most of them. I don't want you to be the way you can help yourself out of this thing is to give us something, even though it's very
You just said you have
difficult.
what you need, so
We
why do you need to keep asking me?
Because you were the last one.
But if you have what you need, why do you keep asking me? Like,
Because our goal is to find Gannon. Our goal is not to prosecute you. That is the district attorney's job. We're investigators. And like you've just seen, I do a poor job about half the time because I have to guess. Because as much as we tried to track you with your cars and your phones and whatever else, there are gaps. We do have, like I told you, the blood in the house. We do have the blood on, do you know about the board that was thrown in the forest? Letecia?
oh, what? I'm sorry, sir, what?
That's okay. The board that had Gannon's blood on it that was thrown in the forest.
So all right, so what?
It's got your DNA on it.
Okay.
But then how do you explain stuff like that and then turn around and say, but then turn around and say, I don't know.
Sir, I lived in the house with Gannon. I was Gannon's main caretaker. I wouldn't be surprised if everything I done didn't involve Gannon. Whatever.
But that board was from the house, and then it's up all by Highway 105.
Board from the house. I've already explained to you about any kind of stuff that would have been from the foot. I've already told you that, and I don't know what you.
But Gannon didn't go throw it up there.
Okay, so now someone threw it up there. So now someone threw it up
Or
there.
dropped, or whatever. How did that board get up there?
Sure. Now you're going on about the
Well,
board.
Letecia,
And Albert already called about this board. Because you were there, right?
Yes.
And the sock and all this stuff, right?
Stock had nothing to do with it.
Okay. But yeah, he said a sock.
But he did say it's stock.
Right.
But the board is true.
Sir.
The board was right where your T1 was.
Sure. Tiguan.
Yeah. Yeah, because we tracked it.
You could have gotten all that from me easily. You just log into the app. It's not a difficult thing. Like.
Right. But if you track from where your T1 went and you look at where that board went.
Now, okay, so this is why it's so, like, backwards. So now my Tiguan, but I was driving a truck, and then now my Tiguan, and now, you tried on the rental car, but then
No, you had 3 different cars.
there's proof on the rental car that I didn't even get to drive it. So,
Right, there's low mileage on it. But we don't know where you went, because you had your phone.
Watch on.
Yeah, but you had your phone.
But the
watch is up in the forest somewhere, isn't it?
No, that's the forest. You guys have my watch. It's at El Paso Detention Center.
That's the watch there. I thought you had an iWatch.
That is. That's where the watch was at.
Okay.
My watch says it's clearly sitting in El Paso County.
Okay. But your phone was off those couple of days.
A couple of days.
The 27th, it was off when you were between the Petcos.
But I had my watch on.
Right. But what I'm
The
saying,
watch tells you where you go. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
it's mirrored.
but I'm telling you, we have holes in our investigation, and you can help us with that.
Or I didn't even drive my car anywhere really, other than just going to meet friends.
You drove the Tiguan up there.
Yeah, other than to meet friends, yes.
So who you meet? What friends? That can be a lead we can help find Gannon with.
You guys already know all my friends, so maybe
No, we don't know those up there.
that should be the ones that you really know.
We don't know the ones up there, I guarantee you.
And like the guy said, oh, tire pressure and all this, then you would have saw where if I stopped anywhere or done whatever.
Can't you tell me though?
Sure.
Instead of
You want me to
making
do
me.
that? Like, I've already had to tell you everything personal about her life. You have everything personal.
I don't have what friends you saw up there on 105 where that board is.
Look, I'm not going to admit to any kind of board.
I'm not saying you need to. I'm just saying tell me who your friends are up there and we can go talk to
And
them.
my Tiguan wasn't even driven that way until
Okay,
like,
so maybe it was
later.
how much later?
I don't even know. Before they took it.
Okay, so was the truck up there?
Took up where?
Up that 105 area?
Oh, cause I just said this.
But
I was going to Castle already said this.
but is that where the board was? It was in the back
Sir,
of the
I don't
truck.
know where the board was at because I don't know. I really don't know. You're asking me a question that I really don't know the
So
answer to.
we have a board up
Okay.
there where you were driving
Okay.
with Gannon's blood on it,
Okay.
with your DNA on it.
Okay. So
So
my DNA, which would be what?
skin cells.
Okay. My skin cells, which I lived in a home, if that's what
Correct.
you're telling me.
Yeah.
And I've already told you that there was all this wood in the garage.
Yeah, but you never told me that you took a piece out of the truck and flung it up there. Put it or flung it. And again, Letecia, I think you get mad when I say a verb or something, whether you placed it, flung it, dropped it, hit it, I don't know. But all I know is that our FBI evidence response team recovered it.
Okay. Did you check everybody else in the house?
As far as for their DNA?
No, not the DNA to see if they put it there. Because you remember, these are the people that were in the house when I wasn't there. Did you check all them?
The people in the house.
Yeah, did you check the people in the house?
You mean the crime scene people?
No, I mean the people that I'm sorry, phrase that, because you don't like you, that was allowed to stay there when all this stuff you're talking about would have been there. Okay?
Correct.
Did you check all these people?
As far as their DNA?
No. Did you check to see if any of them did this?
Drove and threw that wood up there?
Did you check them?
Their GPS, their phone.
No. Did you check them? Because that is doesn't matter. So you mean to tell me you checked Veronica's GPS and her phone?
She's really squirming. This is all games. She stonewalls, she demeans, she does this. I already tried to help you. Except she didn't already try and help him. She still acts like he is obligated and failed. Watch her body language. She says, wow, like, wow, you're such an idiot. When he lets her know that she's caught and the evidence is overwhelming, this often leads people to give up because they know their best chance then is to confess and try and come up with an excuse or a different story like it was an accident. Look at her when she realizes they've found the board. She's in shock. And look at her body language here. She is bent right over. She's stretching a lot. It's because she's so stressed. Yes, they've been sitting for a long time, and so yes, it's normal to stretch, but her body has been tense for hours. So she needs to stretch. Then about the board, she's, how dare you not believe my first story? She'd already said she had the board in the truck. And then that annoying playing dumb game again. And she's redirecting to other suspects. Every time she redirects, they know to look at what she's directing away from. She tries every game she can come up with. But you see, he's laid the foundation. Through all of this, he's laid the foundation, and they are much further down the road than she understands they are.
Do you know how I told you about that? I normally don't do this. Tell everybody all the evidence against them. Why do you think?
I don't know.
Because I think if you're to weigh this on, there's enough probable cause. A judge in Colorado Springs in El Paso has signed a probable cause warrant for first-degree murder.
Okay.
And all this evidence, and I'm telling you about the ones that I know about, and that's before you do, all the phone stuff, et cetera, and then versus you taking a chance that you're going to get out. It's
I'm not
nothing.
taking a chance for nothing because I didn't do anything, sir. Okay, sir.
If you say you didn't do anything, do you know what an innocent person would do? I have had plenty of innocent people sitting in your chair. You know what an innocent person would do? They would be freaking out.
Well,
You are not freaking out.
yeah, right. You think I haven't freaked out?
I heard
for,
you freak out on
days?
the phone one time.
Think I haven't freaked out for days? You can't judge the way I freak
No.
something out one way and another way.
I have had the wrong person in a room like this before,
Okay.
and trust me, if they had any idea who did it, they would tell me.
Okay. Well,
That makes no sense, and no jury will buy. No jury's going to buy
Okay.
that you sit here with an answer that somebody else took Gannon, that all this head wound and all this stuff happened in there. Do you think I don't know what I'm talking about?
Sir, I never question anything.
Well, you must, because you're taking a huge chance, Letecia.
Sir, I'm not taking any chance.
How are you not taking
Because
a chance?
I know the man upstairs knows I did not do anything.
Well, he's not going to be on the jury.
Oh, okay. All right, we're not going to go there with that. We're not going to go
We're
there.
going to sensible people who we're going to present evidence in front of.
Let me tell you what. There's a higher power.
There
That
is.
higher power will make sure.
I believe in the higher power as well.
I'm glad you did. That really makes me feel a lot better. It really does. I'm serious. You know.
But Letecia, if this comes down to common sense,
I do have
and these prosecutors, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about who you're going to be sitting in front of.
Okay.
And if you're going to take a chance that they're not going to listen to all this evidence, all this blood, all these stories that you told about Gannon, and that you have the key to finding him and you don't do it, there's nobody else to prosecute.
Okay.
Why won't you go there?
Why am I, what else am I going to say?
The easiest thing to tell me is the last time you saw Gannon.
I've already told you I'm not.
But then what do I need to go through again the other things that might have happened to Gannon? Where did you gently place Gannon?
What?
I don't know how to phrase it.
What are you talking about?
I don't know, because I don't know where he is. If you want me to use a different verb or whatever, I'm struggling.
Again, with the higher power. She's using God as a tool, and she laughs at him again. With all this talk that she's being so respectful and kind to him, and he's the one who's wrong, she sure demeans the guy a lot.
This is all about you. You're the one caught up in it, though. You're the one with all the evidence stacked against you.
Well,
Help yourself right now.
I don't.
Why would you not?
How did I do that?
Tell me what happened.
What happened? Well, I don't know.
The way you
Well, I'm
described.
going to stand up for a moment.
Absolutely. The wounds that you described to him don't even come close
Okay,
to the blood in the.
that's what you think.
No, it's not.
Okay.
This is what people that do this for a living tell me.
Okay.
Again, I wasn't there, but a little gash on his head
Okay.
doesn't explain at all that stuff that's in there.
Okay.
But do you want to go with that? Because when you walk out of here, the last thing on record you're going to have is what you told me. And I would love to be your storyteller.
Okay.
I would love to tell the true story. It will help you. You believe in that higher power you
Oh, I do. That's why. You
What
want to know
about the
why?
truth? Do you study the truth?
You want to know why I'm not sitting here like going crazy, freaking out, putting on an emotional show like I've seen people involved in this situation put on fake cries and all that? Because I know God knows.
Okay.
I mean,
But what about the truth? You study the same Bible, the same God. It tells a lot about truth in there, and you have not told many truths in this whole thing.
Well, I don't know that. Guess what? Let me tell you what happened this morning when I woke up. When I woke up this morning, I watched a story about Ron Gibbons. So he started this. He ended up like getting talked down to, bullied online, treated like crap, accused of things he didn't do. And that's where he went to the accusation part. And so he went down this whole trail talking about how accusation, how this did to him, what he had to go through, and all that.
Right.
But in the end, he kept his faith in Jesus Christ. You know about the story of Paul, you know about Saul in the Bible. Okay, I can walk you through a lot in the Bible. If you know what I'm talking about. So he turned those accusations into just keeping steadfast and staying strong, and to believing God's going to do this and keeping whatever. Because, in the Bible, they persecuted a lot of Christians, right? A lot of them for things they didn't do right. But, there's a lot of stories where God made sure they were okay. So when I woke up this morning, I literally decided, God, you can take this, and you can either A, bring him home, bring him to the front step, drop him off, so that I can please never have to worry about this again.
Right.
Or you can let me stay focused on believing in you, not in him, and just the truth will come out. And it's okay, because I don't want to sit here and accuse all these people of whatever. I'm not going to turn those same accusations against them for saying this and saying that, not believing this, not believing that. I'm just going to sit and say, I know I did not hurt you.
She's facing away from him. She literally cannot face him. She speaks of people putting on emotional shows and fake cries. That's how she sees it. And part of that is because that's her. Then she does this. I can walk you through a lot in the Bible. She's setting herself up as an authority. When you hear someone claiming to know and understand God's word better than anybody else, all your spidey senses should go off. This is a tool to manipulate in a profound way. In the context of spirituality or religion, she speaks of being steadfast. What she's doing is telling them her plan. She's going to be steadfast. She also mentions persecution. And the context is a bit weird. It's a little bit disjointed until you think about what she believes or what she's claiming to herself is happening to her. That she's being chased, that she's being attacked, that she's being accused, that they're coming after her. She sees that as persecution. Not only does she see that as persecution, she's actually comparing it to a religious persecution. That's some scary stuff. When someone attaches grievance and religious belief, and the religious belief helps to justify or solidify their sense of grievance, that's a threat indicator. She claims she won't accuse others, except she has, including real people.
Go a different way. If you did something bad to Gannon.
I did not.
I'm saying we go if. If you did something bad to Gannon, could you ever admit it?
I'm not going to go.
This is not a trick.
But I'm not going to go answer that question because I did not do anything bad.
The reason why I ask you that is the people that I've worked with are actually put in prison for life. I've told them, and I've told people, the families of these victims, I said, if you put Harold in a room and you take everybody else out, we have absolute evidence that he pushed his wife off a cliff and that he dropped a car on his other wife, and he was convicted. I said, even if you put everybody out and you just have Harold in a mirror, Harold was a God follower, Christian like you are. I said he could never admit that he did that to either wife.
Well, I'm sorry that, what's his name, Harold? Harold is that type of person. Because a God follower, I'm not judging him. I'm saying In order for you have to repent your sins to God, okay? And you have to put yourself there. And in order to repent your sins to God, it means also you have to lay them all down on the cross. And like, my sins are laid down. And it is not involving hurting, harming, or killing you. So I'm sorry that Harold or whatever his name is has like a different approach.
Well, I think you have probably a more serious problem than Harold does. You know where an 11-year-old is, and I am here telling you we could go find him, and you are not giving us his location, alive or dead. So what Harold did was push a 50-year-old woman off the cliff. It was an awful thing, and the parents hated losing Tony. But Tony had lived a full life, as full as you can till 50. It was still tragic. Gannon's 11. Gannon,
that doesn't matter age, you're right. It's tragic, right?
Yeah.
You just said
and
that.
if you had the answer, you would give it to us.
I don't know where he is.
But you won't answer my question about the last time you saw him.
Listen, sir, anything I say to you, you're not going to listen to me. You're going to take.
I'm not going to twist things, Letecia.
To be honest with you, I can give you speculation.
Okay, give me
with everyone else.
speculation. Please.
I can give you
I'll take
speculation.
speculation.
Speculation is getting alive. Speculation is being with someone who is not willing to hurt him until they get something they want.
Why wouldn't they make a demand then? Why would they hold an 11-year-old kid? That's more sadistic.
He uses if. This is a way to make it hypothetical. It makes it easier for the offender to talk about it. She's talking about how you have to repent your sins. Well, how rich is that? She's saying, oh, it's tragic, and she's actually arguing a moral position over him. Unbelievable.
You had nothing to do with harming Gannon. Why would you clean up the blood that's on the wall?
So you're saying you've never had anything happen in your house and you cleaned it up? Never. Like, you've never had, like...
Why would you cut out the carpet?
Nosebleeds. The carpet?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was going to get more carpet. The carpet has nothing to do with cutting it out. It's getting smell. It stunk. I couldn't breathe. None of us could breathe.
Did you say that Lena helped you clean up some of the blood on the wall?
Lena always helps us clean up everything. Lena helped us clean up the light switch. Lena helped us clean up when Gannon had a nosebleed. Okay?
But for this occasion, she helped with that.
Now you're going to walk me back through what we've already talked about. So you're now going to go be like, oh, an 8-year-old this and an 8-year-old that. Come on. There was all the time. Gannon was bleeding all the time. He'd have a nosebleed randomly at the drop of a dime. He'd bite his fingers, bleed all the time.
Would it help if I gave you a picture of the wall of what all showed up on it?
Sir, that's not going to get me to say anything to you because I didn't do anything.
Well, what I'm trying to appeal to, though, is, again, you weighing your options right now before we're gone.
Sir?
Because you're taking a big risk, Letecia.
Sir, I believe in higher power. And that higher power is going to show the entire world. And when it does, I would never have to work a day in my life again. And that's going to happen. Guaranteed. Because I did not hurt, I did not dispose, kill, whatever you want to call these things that you're going to name out as verbs.
This business of, so you're saying, is a tactic. It goes like this. So you're saying, insert something ridiculous here, and they put whatever words they want in your mouth. Whatever logic or illogic that they want to go wherever they want to go with it. It's weird too, how only one part of the carpet stunk? Poor Lena had to clean up her brother's blood. That Letecia suggests Grusing is going to say an 8-year-old did this and an 8-year-old that tells you she knows that this was really bad. When he offers a picture again, she actually holds her hand up. She does not want to think about that. And then she goes back to the sir and the higher power and a plea. She comes out with a strange statement. She says, I'll never have to work a day in my life again. That's been what she's wanted all along. Recall the disputes with Al over wanting to quit her job. In the next section, he asks her to tell him about her last image of Gannon. This is a powerful question. Watch her body language.
And about why would you act like this when there's a boy out there?
I want him home.
Then tell me how to do it.
I want to help you. I don't know. I don't.
But see, that's where easy questions should be easy to answer.
I just said I don't know. That's an easy answer.
The easy answer is tell me the very last time you laid eyes on him. Where was he? Was he laying down? Was he standing up? Was he sitting? Was he walking to a car? Where was? Give me your very last image of Gannon. That's an easy question. You have to remember your last image of Gannon. Letecia, what was he doing? Why would you not answer that?
Because I've given it.
No, you haven't told me exactly what you saw when you saw him for the very last time. Did you see the back of his head? Did you see his face? What was his expression? Did he say goodbye to you? Tell me of your last, I wish I could see in your head right now. Your very last image is there, but you won't tell me. Why won't you tell me?
Because it's nothing bad.
Well, then tell me. If it's nothing bad, you would tell me. Image of Gannon.
I don't have any bad images of Gannon.
I didn't say it was bad.
I don't have any.
What's the very last picture of seeing Gannon alive or not alive that you have in your brain?
He is alive. I'm not
Then
saying
tell me the last time you saw him. What did you see? Letecia, all that stuff you said earlier.
Okay.
Being a good person, you didn't hurt him, you didn't do all this. I'm repeating it back to you. Why could you not tell me then? If all that is true, you know the last time you saw him. What would that hurt to tell me? Do you kind of think?
No, I don't.
Well, then tell me.
I don't need any kinds of.
What is wrong with that question?
There's nothing wrong with the question. I've already made it clear that I wasn't going to answer more questions.
You've never answered this one.
Because you have already predetermined what you want in your brain, along with everyone else.
Why do you care about what's in my brain?
So you just asked me about mine.
Yeah, because your brain's the only one that counts here. It doesn't matter what's in my brain. The very last time you saw Gannon, where was he? What was he doing?
Did y'all put a reward out?
There's no need to put it. Can you please answer that?
You automatically have a predetermined thing in your brain.
If you give me something else, I'll go there.
No, wow.
Why do you care about my brain, Letecia? Yours is the one that matters. What's the last thing you saw?
Let me tell you one more time. I did not hurt.
I didn't ask
harm,
that. I did not ask that. I
me.
don't care. What is the last image you have?
All these places I've been.
Why don't you answer that question?
Why don't you
I'm just
answer me?
kidding.
Have you checked all these places I've been, and where was Gannon? Was he there? Doesn't that have to sneak it in the brain for a little bit to say?
You're going to live with it for the rest of your life, Letecia. Why don't you tell me today?
I'm not living with anything horrible in my brain. I'm not.
Okay, well then it should be an easy question.
I've given you the answer.
Of the last time you saw him? No, you haven't.
No.
But I'm afraid it's not the image that you want to be left with.
What? Sir, that's not going to convince me to say something that I didn't do.
Okay, then maybe it is the image. Then tell me. Why else would you not tell me?
Because you keep going with the same question, and if you've already
And you won't answer it.
but you predetermined yourself.
No.
When I thought you were going to help, that was different. But you predetermined yourself.
You didn't
what
tell
to
me
think.
what the last thing you saw was, even with your answer there. And that's fine. If you want to tell me the thing with Angel, I
I'm not
don't
going to
care.
say anything other than saying, it will shock everyone. But I will promise you, I won't have to worry about nothing the rest of my life because I didn't do it.
What's going to come out? That you didn't tell the FBI who took Gannon, if that's your deal? How is that going to shock everybody?
Okay. Okay, sir. Okay.
I didn't think you were guilty until you don't answer the last time you saw him.
Sir, you came in this morning.
No, I did not.
And you automatically thought that. You automatically thought that already.
I was willing to listen if you were going to give me evidence to the contrary. But I have talked to many people who have seen someone disappear. It never goes away. That last image is gone.
Well,
it never goes away, and you've got it in your mind, and you won't tell me.
Right.
There's only one reason you won't tell me.
You're right. People do have, when people do bad things, their images stay in their brain. You're right.
Bad or good. A lot of these dads didn't know when the last time they were going to see their daughter.
I mean,
and they still remember it like it was yesterday, 14 years later.
Oh, yeah.
You remember the last time you saw Gannon.
Yeah.
So tell me what you saw.
Nothing negative.
So tell me what you saw.
I saw nothing negative. I saw nothing with Gannon.
You're telling me nothing. You're saying nothing.
Okay.
Just tell me what you did see, the positive.
Gannon.
Where was he? Was he standing?
You said, tell me what I see. I'm just going to tell you.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt.
How Gannon was.
Okay.
Okay. Gannon was fine. Gannon, nothing was wrong with Gannon. Gannon was happy. Gannon is my favorite stepchild. My favorite. I know everybody says they have favorites and things like that, or say not really necessarily favored or whatever, but he was.
Do you remember how we talked earlier? Remember how we talked earlier about when I ask you a question and you go around?
I'm not answering that question.
You're saying, you're giving me qualities of Gannon. You're not saying what you saw. You're saying he's a favorite stepson.
Sir.
What did you see?
Sir.
Was he standing or sitting?
I didn't do anything to Gannon.
I didn't say you did. I said your last memory.
Okay, well, I didn't do anything to Gannon, so.
Do you have it in your mind right now?
No.
Seeing him for the last time.
Oh, well, it's not going to be the last time that I see him.
The last time you saw him. Do you have that? Do you have that picture in your mind?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
I know you're really good at what you do. I appreciate that. I know that, but I didn't do this.
Well, why don't you tell me the answer to that question?
Because you want. Why would I ask questions for you?
But that is not a hard question to answer. I'm not saying did you kill him. I'm not saying did you put him in a forest. I'm not saying did you put him in a dumpster. This is just your last image. You've got to have it.
My images are happy lives. That's what it always
That's what you see in your brain.
Okay. Well, now you know my brain?
Yes, I know.
Okay.
You have an image of the last time you saw Gannon.
Okay.
If you didn't hurt him, why won't you tell me?
I already told you I didn't hurt him.
I know, but if you didn't, why would that image be a problem for you?
It's not a problem. I don't have a problem with anything.
Then tell me. I'm not accusing you of anything, Letecia. Just tell me the last time you saw him.
He's not asking her to recall the color of her first car here. How many of you recalled the color of your first car when I said that? What he's asking is powerful. He's asking for a visual, so she's accessing that area of her brain instead of going straight to the language area to argue. He's asking for something recent. He's asking about something deeply and solidly tied to emotion. Have you ever heard the phrase, neurons that fire together, wire together? Whether she's guilty or not, her last image of Gannon is tied to emotion. It has to be. That image or images would have popped into her head the minute he asked that question, and she'd have to make a conscious choice on what to do with it. Either let it stay there or try to push it away. A word on her legal defense in respect to this. She says her alternate personality, Maria, committed the crime. She says Maria doesn't come out unless she's taken back to a situation. She's back there now. Agent Grusing has just activated a very specific area of her brain, and it's all there. Notice Maria does not appear here. Notice Letecia is still able to play her usual games. Yes, she's having a tough time of it, but she's doing it, and there's no Maria. The question of where was he when she last saw him, what was her last image of him, should really be easy. She covers her face. You see, that image has popped into her head, and the last image is horrible. And she confirms it when she tries to deny it. I don't have any bad images of Gannon. Grusing never asked or implied anything bad. She just told him. She can't handle this line of questioning. If there was a protective alternate personality, now would be the time for it to pop up. Again, more blame. She asks about a reward. That's a redirect. She redirects, demeans, blames, and goes back to, I'm not living with anything horrible in my brain, because she will deny it to herself. Then she's telling him basically what he thinks. If somebody's telling you what you think, that's an attempt for them to control you. It's also an act of superiority. When she's saying Gannon's okay, she emphasizes the word is. And what that tells me is that she is purposely paying attention to tense. This is a lot of cognitive work. Then she's back to complimenting and using that word appreciate again. So it's hook you in, push you away, build you up, knock you down. And this is the way she is with Elle.
This is an easy question compared to all the other ones we've done. Please.
Are you going to find him?
Yes.
Well, I would rather spend our time doing that because I don't have him. I didn't do anything with him, to him, or hurt him.
Okay.
And I appreciate all your work.
You can help us more than anybody on this planet. You can help me right now find Gannon. Let's start with the one question I asked you.
I don't trust anymore for you because...
Well, just tell me why you don't want to answer that.
Because I've already, it doesn't matter. I can tell you I last saw Gannon when I went to the store this morning, and it could be legit true, and you would still be like, he was not in the store. I mean...
I will be able to tell if you say what he's wearing, or not even what he's wearing, how he was walking, you will remember this. And just you not answering it means you remember it.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you now are a psychologist.
No, behavior analysis.
Okay, good. I'm glad you have behavior analysis. Okay. I appreciate you having behavior. What else do you want me to say or do? I mean, what else?
You don't want to answer that one.
I don't want to tell you anything else because...
Why? If it helps find Gannon, why would you not tell?
Because you already predetermined.
I didn't say you heard him or anything. I think you know where he is, though.
You already predetermined this. You have.
The scene does tell the story,
Okay,
yes.
so if that's your story, then I'm not going to keep saying anything because I know that is not the case. So if I keep saying anything to you, you're just going to keep blah, 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 blah about it. And I've been nothing but respectful to you. So I'm trying to remain respectful to you overall because I don't have any disrespect for you. I don't treat people like that. But putting me in a situation where I'm like saying to you, I cannot say anything else because you've expressed you predetermined what you think. You've already done that. So no matter what I say, I legit could take you right to Gannon and you would be standing there and you would still say to me, well, that's not him. Or you would say something else. Just
Do you know how good that would be for you?
Oh, trust me. Yes.
Then why do you care what
You
I
know
think?
how good that would be for me? Absolutely.
Why do you care what I think? You should not care at all what I think. You said I wouldn't think. If you could take us to Gannon right now, that.
She starts with a pause. She's really having trouble. When they pause like that, you've got their attention. But, she redirects and does the appreciate thing again. Then she plays another game. What else do you want me to say or do? And he handles this well by not answering. This could have easily have been a legal landmine. I'm certain that's not the game she was playing. But investigators have to be careful, not only to not put words into a suspect's mouth, but not to be seen to, and not to be in a position where they can be accused of that. She's telling him what she thinks he would say if she said or did something else. That tells me that she thinks about this. I mean, even in her regular life, she thinks about what she wants to say or do, and then she imagines what other people might think of that or how they might respond, and then she adjusts accordingly. And of course, here she is once again using it as an excuse to withhold and a way to blame him for her behavior of withholding. In the next section, you'll see a long pause. I've left that as it is on purpose, so you can see just how long that pause is and how she's struggling within herself and what Grusing does with that.
You got away with spinning stories and dodging questions your whole life.
So now you know my whole life.
I can look back a little bit. I don't know you when you were 5 or 13 or 16. But I think something bad happened, and you've been able to avoid trouble. But that doesn't happen in this case.
Okay, sir.
These stories that you told are much worse for you than if you had just said, the best thing you could have said is, Anna just went, and that's it. I'm not saying anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But you describing all these injuries to him, even to us today, is awful.
There's not injuries like that.
Yes, you talked about it. Yeah.
There's all the time. You raise children and they never got hurt. Like they never.
All on the last day they're seen alive.
You're making it out to be like some whatever. That's not even how it was.
Tell me how it was then.
Anna and I are very close. Okay?
But see, that's what you don't do. You say generalizations when I ask you, how was it? And
why? I don't even know what you're asking me.
The injury that caused that pool in the corner. It's not a little scratch on his head.
And see what day it came from. If that's what you're telling me, why don't you test it and see what day?
Oh, it didn't happen on Monday.
No,
it happened on Saturday.
You are the one who are telling me, no matter what I say, you're telling me it's your way or no way. So why don't you tell me?
It's a significant enough injury that he was not going to be normal after that.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's what they told me.
Okay, well, that is awful that people aren't normal after anything like that.
This is significant.
Because I had puddles of blood. Remember that I had puddles of blood.
You're talking about 11.
That I did. And then there was no significant injury that I died.
Do you not find that coincidental?
Right.
Yeah. The blood on the wall and by his bed.
The blood that you or your team allowed people to be in the house.
That has no bearing on it.
Okay, well, if it doesn't, then okay.
It doesn't.
Okay, then. Okay. Maybe check one of them.
You ready to tell me that?
Maybe check one of them. Because...
I bet you they can tell me the last time they saw Gannon. Even though it was months before. I bet Al can tell you the last time he saw Gannon. Even though he didn't know that was going to be the last time. I guarantee you he's got an image of Gannon. You were the last time with the show.
Okay.
What do I need to say to help you? I'm serious.
You do not want to help me.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't. You want me to tell you what you want to hear. That's what you want.
No.
Yes.
I have never wanted people to tell me what I want to hear. If it doesn't lead me to finding Gannon or the truth of this matter, I could care less what it is. Like I said, most of the time, I'm wrong. I have to have people like you tell me the truth. You didn't have anything to hide. You tell me your last image of it.
I don't have anything to hide.
Then tell me. That's not a guilt or innocence question. Just your last image of Gannon. Okay, now you don't have to tell me the last time you saw him. Just your last image in your head. What's the last image in your head you have of him? No. Or was he?
Yeah, you said last image. That's the
I mean,
image.
was he sitting? Is he standing? Is he laying down? What's he doing?
Walking
Towards you or away from you?
away.
Do you have any questions for me? Any questions for me? No, that's fine. Have I not asked you a question that I should be asking you? Anything? I don't have the answers. No, feelings that I can't talk about right now. No, I can understand
Yeah.
that. Anything?
Something.
Is there anything I need to ask you that I haven't?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I don't think of anything. Sure.
Well,
He has her pegged. When she says, that's not even how it was, she slipped there. He asks, what do I need to say to help you? That's good. Because if there is something specific that she's been looking for, waiting for, and not saying, this gives her an opportunity. Looking at all of this, nobody can say that she wasn't given ample opportunity. She says she doesn't have anything to hide, but she's been claiming that she's had to hide because bad people are out there and she needs protection from them. Long pause here. Notice he waits. If she's going to confess, it will be now. And waiting and not pushing at this point is the right thing to do. When he asks, is there anything I haven't asked? Good interviewers ask that question. It gives the person an opportunity to bring up something you may not have thought of. At this point, though, he knows it's done.
T-shirt. Again, like I said, you're gonna have to go to whatever jail that holds you in. Colorado's got the warrant, so they're gonna transport you.
Okay.
You have anything else for me? today, but if you have something you want to say, I'll sit here for another 4 hours. We won't finish this one. It's in the F.B.I. is what they call it. That's what they picked you up on today, was the arrest warrant.
Okay.
You're gonna be done up there. Anything else? First degree murder for Gannon's death. That's what I was trying to come in here with you to help you. If we find Gannon, that makes a big difference. We'll let you go. If he's alive, you might as well try it. I can't speak for the district attorney. I'm not an attorney. I'm an investigator. If he's alive and you can get us Gannon, yes, good things will happen to you today versus getting shipped back to Colorado.
And I'll talk to you about that.
He gives her one last chance, and she doesn't take it. When they went outside the room, Letecia said something to Grusing. I'll let him tell you what that was.
So we're now at the end of that recorded interview, essentially. Is she trying to have another off-camera discussion with you?
Yes,
Did you in fact have a short discussion with her off-camera?
yes.
What happened in that discussion?
Right outside the door, we now had police officers waiting to transport. So there were probably 4 or 5 law enforcement around us. And she said something in a small voice about North Carolina that I couldn't hear. And I asked her to repeat it. And she said that she and I should go to North Carolina. And I asked her, is Gannon in North Carolina? And she didn't answer.
She may not have expected witnesses, but she knew that this was her last chance to sing her siren song, so she did. This is the end of this series on the FBI interviews with Letecia. Thank you for listening.